You are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business. Tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Welcome back, everybody. You know, if you've been around for a nanosecond, how passionate I am about bringing the human back to the experience. And truthfully, if you want to compete in today's landscape, AI is a helper. It is not the answer or the smoking gun. You, my friends, are going to be the difference maker. And so I'm super excited to introduce you to our guest today. This is somebody that I am in a networking group with. He had something to say that lit me up, and I said, you got to come play with me. And he said, yes, I'd love to. So please give a very warm welcome. This is Jason Friedman. We're going to be talking about how to get better client results by creating awesome client experiences. Jason, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you here today.
Me too, Christine. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, you are so welcome. And one of the things that just lit me up when I first heard you is that you came from a real animated theater background and you said people matter. Let's talk a little bit about this, because I think, honestly, the human component is a witness protection program right now. We're sort of missing them. And you have great results when you change the script. Tell us more.
Yeah, you know, theater has been like one of the greatest educators of my life. You know, I kind of went into that world accidentally. And as I got through learning more and more about, you know, theater as a model and a metaphor for business, it just became clear that like I had something special there to share. And so, you know, in the world of theater, everything is tailored towards the audience. And in business, when we start to do the same thing, when we learn how to tailor everything that we do towards the audience and help them have the reaction that we want them to have the results that we want them to have, magical things happen and they unfold right there in front of us. And so I'm on a mission to help more entrepreneurs and business owners understand how to leverage this really amazing strategy and help create more of abundance, more results for their clients, and help them have massive success.
I love this because we do talk about the results, not enough, truthfully. But I also love that you said it's about the audience experience.
Yep.
Because a client of mine came to me today. I've had a bit of a rethink over the weekend. I might want to do a pivot. And the first thing I said is, tell me about the client. What does the client want? What is the journey they will get on board with? Because you're really talking about the how. And I love it. Like, we're business owners. We want to get the result. We're really strong, typically, on the how. And I said, but how is a response to something?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You know, people, all entrepreneurs, right? We want to just take action. We want to do that. So we'll pivot. We'll make those kind of big sweeping decisions. And like what is the experience that you want your clients to have, right? And so like you talk about like what do they want, what do they need, and how do they need to feel, right? And so in experience, when we start thinking about that, it transcends the doing, right? It's beyond just what we do, right? The how. It's also about the brain and like the motivations. It's about the frictions and the things that get in their way. And it's about how people feel along their journey. And so like what you said to your client, like what exactly do they need? What do they want? Right? What are they coming to you for? Where's the hole? Where's the gap? What can we fill that in with? Once you can start at the end, you can reverse engineer an amazing journey for them to go on that will almost guarantee that they get the results that they came for. And so we're big, yeah, right? That's what we want. And I think most entrepreneurial business owners, small business owners, or even large organizations, it doesn't matter. I think we get so hung up on what we're doing, the work that we're providing, that we kind of lose sight of the results that our customers are getting. And so like we help people just kind of like have a different lens. Like let's look at that journey that customers are going and make sure that the results that they're getting are the results that they signed up for and that they really wanted and needed in the first place. Because when you're able to do that, it's magical because the testimonials, the responses are fantastic.
Yeah, and you can't write that. You know, this is the thing I love. And one of my guest episodes just a couple weeks ago, he said, I get hired because of how I make people feel. And I thought this is what we are missing, because we've sorted it, edited it. And one of my most important lessons I tell all my clients is show up more unfiltered. because we so edit what we think they want. We make all kinds of assumptions. We think we can't be honest in the wobbles. And I said, welcome to the human race. It is a hot mess.
Yep.
Sometimes we're winning, sometimes we're not. But truthfully, if you can show up as you, and we talk a lot about this word of authenticity, but I'm like, actually, I want you to walk it.
Yeah.
And I want you to be more unfiltered. And I want you to know that truthfully, strangers will cheer for you before people you know. It is harder to play to a hometown audience. And when you can do this, you are not in a crowded field.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the idea of integrity comes into play here, right? And it's like, I think of integrity as like an alignment between like kind of what you think, what you say, and what you do and how you show up. And when you're able to be in integrity and kind of come across with that authenticity, that idea of unfiltered, like it's not even being unfiltered, it's just being you, right?
Yeah.
It's just being you and being authentically aligned. And so when we help businesses, it kind of forces an alignment, right? Because if you really are looking at how to like genuinely help your customers get those results, you start to look at all the things that are in the process and you start to align things with their results. And when you do that on the front stage, using the theater analogy, everything that's kind of facing the customer, that helps them. And then you kind of go backstage and like all the support systems and the processes and the techniques and the team that are not necessarily front facing, you start to align that with those results also. You create such efficiency and such like again integrity, such alignment between what you're saying out there and your marketing messaging and what the results are, that all of a sudden it becomes a factory of getting results. And so it also becomes a marketing factory of sharing wins. And when you can start to share the wins from the back end on the front end in your marketing messages, you start to build a really great compounding machine that you're getting bigger and bigger results. Every dollar you spend becomes $2, $3, $4, $5 on the back end. And that's where the magic happens.
That's what I told my clients would hear it in this community would hear, I call it the client growth engine. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we want to win the first one and we want to have their successes repeated, but you're in the moment and you're in momentum and you're in that compound effect. Comes down to systematizing. And I don't mean dehumanizing. I mean keeping the human at the very heart of this. And I loved, because of the way you actually used it, your hands in that moment was, it's actually multi-stepped.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we think the big wins are, I call them unicorns. Like, you're selling me something so big. It's not that I don't
Mhm.
want it. It's awesome and they're magical, but truthfully, it feels too far away. And we have to slow things down to, what are all the small clues, reaffirming moments that you can get buy-in? Because every time you get buy-in, you take a step together.
Yeah, that's so well said. Well said. I love that that whole idea. We spend so much time in the future and we spend so much time in the past. What didn't work for us before or where I want to get. We spend very little time in the moment. And so what we try and help people do is be in those moments and show the wins. Help people see how they're winning in each moment as they go through your journey. And so like you said, the big result that they get at the end, that's awesome. We all want that. We're going to get there. But the way we get there is by building momentum. The way we build momentum is by seeing positive steps towards that goal. And so we have to show people don't understand what a win is. Like in our businesses today, one of the most important things I learned this gratefully from a coach probably 25 years ago, was that we have to define things for people. People don't know what things mean, or they have a definition that doesn't serve them any longer. And so like I have to teach people, my customers too, I have to teach them, what is a win, right? A win is a feeling of progress. Like that's all it is. It doesn't have to be massive. It has to be something that is a perception of progress. And so if you can start teaching your clients what that looks like and start to show them and catch them in the act of winning and celebrate those moments, the momentum that builds is amazing. It's unbelievable. And it not only helps them, but it helps your team. Like they feel like they're part of something even more special. And you attract better fit employees and team members and things. So it's a powerful strategy that works both front stage and backstage when you start to show people how to capture people in the act of winning. And it doesn't just wait for the big wins. It's all the behavioral wins, all the little things, and we celebrate.
I love that, because truthfully, I don't think we celebrate enough.
We
And
don't.
I spend a lot of time with my clients, and they get into the habit of knowing, like, come to me prepared to talk about the win. And I'm onboarding currently a new client, and she was talking about, I just feel like I just can't connect. And
Mm,
that's the piece of this idea. Like, I see the win as only revenue. And I said, well, let's talk about, I mean, the things that I have observed, because I've known and observed this individual for at least more than 18 months
mm,
since I met her first time into now becoming a client. And I said, I will tell you, I see wins you don't see. And I'm not here blowing smoke, because
yep.
truthfully, I don't have that gene in me. I'm like a straight talking girl. But I said, I want you to break down what success looks like today, because I will tell you in my journey, yes, I have knocked it out of the park and created $1 million wins, but I've also had days where getting out of bed and putting clothes on to leave the house to go to Starbucks was massive. And
Sure.
I know that most people would be like, oh, whatever, Christine. I'm like, no, seriously, I don't need to show you the picture. It wasn't very pretty, but I have experienced that. And so your big win might be you didn't quit the field today.
100%. Like, people underestimate the power of that, that positivity. And I mean, just like changing the language, right? Asking better questions, right? I'm big believer in questions and the right questions. So with my kids are also some of my greatest teachers out there, right?
Yes.
And I used to ask, like, how was your day? And I would get a grunt, good, bad, very, very, caveman like,
Every parent knows that
right?
language.
Yeah, and so I started asking different questions. So now it's like, "Hey, what 3 things were amazing at school today?" And they have to give me 3, and they actually find them. And it might just be, "We had a good time at lunch, blah, 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 blah. This happened and that happened, whatever." But all of a sudden, the conversation opened up, and they started thinking in a positive way. And that inspires more action, more sharing, more conversation. And so just finding those are wins. Like, I had a win. I had a great recess at lunch. That's awesome. Celebrate
Mhm.
that. That was a great lunch. Awesome. Okay, now what's the next win? And so I think we have to find language and steps, and I build processes around all these things, right? So what are the questions that you're asking your clients that help them find the wins? What are the things that your team is doing behind the scenes that's showcasing the wins so that we can help them see them? Because to your point, people don't see their own wins, and we have to help them.
We do. And it's a really beautiful thing to step in as a business owner who's really keen to make impact and amplify your message, to say, I am observing and bearing witness to your evolution and to your transformation and to your journey of life. Like, it is a real beautiful gift. And that's why I said, like, I want the human part of this. And a lot of people who listen to this show, want to run a boutique business. And what I mean by that is, I'm looking for the 5 to 30 people's lives every year I will change.
Yeah.
And that is how I show up. And when we talk about, I always say to people, focus on the movement. And I've had a light bulb moment myself, which is just break that word down. It's moment. You've got to
Mhm.
find the moments. You've got to look for the wins. And really, truthfully, you need to not just do this for your clients. I invite you to do this for yourself, because every time I've led teams in whether it's corporate world or business world, when you get to the performance review, you do your financial reviews as a business, like, you're like, I don't know what happened in the last 18 months, just feels like a whirlwind. Certainly
Yep.
can't tell you what I did 2 weeks ago. And I said, I want you every week in the discipline. I like a nice journal to do it, but document to me, this was a win. So that when you go back and you're feeling stalled or stagnant, or like, this is just, why should it not be easier?
Yep.
I said, I don't guarantee it's easy. You have to decide it's worth it. And to remind yourself of that journey, I was gifted a 5-year business journal, and I have been writing. I'm in year 4. Every day with discipline, I document something in the day. And I don't often go back to look, but when those days are more challenging, I'm like, wow, was that only a year ago? Or wow,
Yep.
that big milestone. Like, it's fascinating, and it inspires hope, and it gets us back into, what can I do next?
100%. Journaling is unbelievably underestimated, right? It's often one of the most amazing things you can do, because, like, when you write it down, whether it's writing a goal or writing a win or writing, a learning or whatever, it cements it in our brain in some kind of way, even if we don't go back and review it, which
Mhm.
I am guilty of that same thing, where it's like, I did all this, but when you do go back, you realize how much progress you made or how much momentum was increased because of the act of doing it. And so, like, a quick tip for everybody out there, I build what's called win walls for myself and for other people. And I just create this massive amount of wins on there, and I jot them in one spot all the time. And then I can share them with my clients, because those moments, when you start stacking moments together that are like positive and winning, all sorts of things start, like, it just becomes again a momentum inducer. It boosts it over and over and over again. And like I said earlier, clients, we can't see it for ourselves. And so the other side of that, when you start to catch people winning and you share that with them, not only do they get the win, but they get something even more important. They get recognition. They get recognition from you and from your business. And so, like, one of the most powerful things you can do to reward people is to recognize them. And when they see their coach or their partner or their vendor, somebody else recognize them for winning and doing amazing things from an authentic, genuine space, it's powerful. It motivates them to get even more wins. So you get both the win of the positive energy and everything that's going on, but you also get that recognition bit, and it's super impressive, super impactful.
I love this idea of rewarding. And I remember with one of my clients back in January, and I asked this question. I said, do you have a line item in your budget for recognition?
Mhm.
Because like when we're in the world of corporate, we do. We put a budget line item for recognition, whether you call it bonus, whether you call it team get-togethers, whether you do something. We have some specific line item in our budget for recognition.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because the moment I asked her this, she's like, I don't. I said, you don't have anything in your budget currently that rewards you for celebrating milestones in your business as the CEO of your business.
Mhm.
So let's fix that right now. First off, let's think
Yep.
the first major win is my client, because I want you having one, and I want you telling me what would motivate you. Like, yes, in this journey, we're creating milestones, and not everything is a knock out of the park, but I valued the lesson. I recognize where I got in my own way. I was an observer, and I have insight that leads to a choice I might make going forward. Those are all the things that we
Yep.
need to get out of bed for. I
Yep.
said, tell me what motivates you, because when you get to be the CEO and you do have this line item in your budget, do things that lift you. And some people will say, I'll take the day to go work in a charity. I'll go donate time for Habitat for Humanity. Other people were like, I want a beautiful piece of jewelry. I'm like, I don't care. I just actually got back from my CEO trip where I'm like, I am taking myself off for a lovely 3-day event,
Yep.
because that was incentivizing for me. And I think this is important, that you have to celebrate in a way that you love.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. If you haven't read the book, The 5 Love Languages, you should. I hate to should on people, but I'm going to should on you. You should read that. But like, we all have different ways of receiving that, right? And so there's, acts of service, receiving gifts, personal time, physical touch, and I'm blanking on the fifth one. But there's all these great things. Read the book, and we all see it differently. Here's the thing, like, even when you have a budget, most of our employees, most of our people, money is not the most important thing. It is at like the lowest level, with like people that are like living paycheck to paycheck. Of course, they want the money the most, but what motivates them more is the recognition. It's the words of affirmation. It's the showing them in front of other people, acknowledging them. And so I always say, like, people like do what you pay them to do, right? We all know that old adage, and that's true. Like, if I give you $1, you're going to do this, and there's a great exchange at that point. But here's the difference: people love doing what you reward and recognize them for doing. And so when we look at our customers, like, we can reward them, we can gamify it, we can give them stuff, the swag and all of that all day long, and that's awesome. We can give them a free course or a free this. But when we recognize them in a community of their peers as doing something outstanding or having great success, that's even more impactful for the large majority of our population. And so I would just extend another challenge to all of us, myself included. Like, how can we recognize more people in our business, in our personal lives, in our relationships, for what they're doing that is so impactful to us? That is, it just seems like, well, I had a call with a woman this morning, and she was showing me like the system she built. And it was geeky and technical and all in the weeds and stuff. But I was looking at this, and what she built was a work of art. Like, it truly was. And she was not a technology person. She was not, like, she learned it and figured it out to solve a problem in the business. And I looked at this, and at the end of it, I was just like, you know what? That is exquisite what you did. Like, you are a badass. Like, and I'm blown away at what you did. And that meant more to her than so much more. And I didn't say it just to have, like, I was genuinely impressed, but I recognized what she had done, and that built a bond already. Like we already have some new chemistry, and so on and so forth. So I just think, like, for all of us, like, how can you recognize people more, and not just focus on the reward side, not just focus on the monetary piece, like little notes, little things, like recognition in front of people. It means so much to so many people.
So your invitation, everyone, is to be the observer. Be present. And we talked about, we spend time in the future. We spend time too much looking in the rearview mirror. And what we're inviting you here is to be present, because you can create amazing client experiences if you celebrate the awesomeness of your clients, their journey, and put them at the heart of what you're doing. And if you're not prepared to do that, with great kindness, quit the field. I mean that genuinely, because we really want to raise the standard of what this human journey is all about. This is what we are here for. And so I want to know, Jason, because I ask all of my guests, what's working for you right now in your business to amplify it? That means great big ripples, new clients. What's working for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna laugh, but it's about helping people get results. That's what I do. So I speak in groups, I share my message, and I help people in those groups get results. And I share what I'm doing, and they invite me to come on their podcast, for example, and share with more people. And so I am in service of others at all times, right? I want to share, I want to help, I want to amplify, I want to coach, I want to lead. But it's all in service of helping people get bigger, better results in whatever they're doing. And so, I just share as openly and as freely as I possibly can. And, and as a result of that, people come and they ask, can I work with you? Can I help you? Can you help me? Can we do something together? Can we collaborate? And so it's been my secret weapon, if you want to call it that, for 25 years. And I didn't know it was in the beginning. It was a little Mr. Miyagi-like, wax the floor, stand on, stand off, but it works. And whatever your superpower is, just share it freely and abundantly.
I love that. It's simpler than you think. Guys, that's my adage. Business growth is elegantly simple. Show up as human, care for other humans, and recognize the works in progress. Jason, how do people find you, get connected to what you're doing, and invite them to have that conversation?
Yeah, two ways. Come to cxformula.com. We've got a bunch of stuff on the website that you can learn from and figure out how to connect with us. And just a little gift for your audience, if they're interested, you go to gift.cxformula.com. There's an awesome PDF there that I'd love to gift you. You won't find it on my website. I'm not going to spam you with tons of emails and nonsense afterwards. Just go check it out and see if it helps you. It's going to ask you a powerful question, give you a framework to integrate what you learn from that. Take you less than 10 minutes.
Guys, go do it. We'll find you the show notes so you can actually get that URL easy into your hands. Go do it. Thank you for being our guest today. Guys, go create an awesome client experience. The world will thank you for it, and your heart will be lifted. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you. Guys, we will see you all on our next episode. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to